Hello students, let's begin the first chapter of secretarial practice, that is secretary. Introduction. The subject secretarial practice deals with the origin, importance, features, types, appointment, qualities, qualifications, functions, duties of different types of secretaries, the functioning of the joint stock company, etc. Now, in this globalized world, India is one of the leading economy in the international level. India is also the fastest developing country and has been the fastest growing service sector in the world. Now, you require finance in business also. To carry out business activity, you require finance. To expand it and even to diversify means starting a new business. Here you require special skill set individuals who have capabilities, qualities and knowledge to grow business and to take business to the next level. So the profession of secretary is one such profession which caters to the changing demands of businessmen and organizations. So in this subject we are going to study in detail about the various functions, qualifications or duties of secretary in detail. Now let's see the origin of the word secretary. First, origin as Latin language, the name for secretary was used as secretarius. The meaning was a confidential writer or officer with whom secrets are entrusted by employer. So first the person will be confidential writer, he will be a writer, he will write various correspondence and all the details of the company will be with that person, but he has to keep everything as confidential and that person will be trusted by their employer. That is known as secretary here. Then in Roman Empire it is known as scribe, a professional letter writer or one who maintains confidential records. So when here the main important word in both the meanings were about the confidential person, confidential writer. That person is quite confidential in terms of writing. He will keep all the details about the company with himself. He will not disclose the information with others. Then as per Indian history, the words used were Amatya, Sachiv, Chitnis, a person who does secretarial work. Then meaning and definition. So the Oxford Dictionary, according to Oxford Dictionary, a person whose work is to write for others, especially one who is employed to conduct correspondence. Now this definition we have to break in few parts and we have to understand. The first part, it mentions about a person who will write correspondence, means there will be various letters or drafts which a person will write on behalf of their employer, then keep records and to transact various other businesses for another person or for a society, corporation or public body. So here secretary will do all this duty for another person, another business, for society, for corporation or even for public body. The main purpose or the main objective of the secretary is to keep record of the various business activity and to communicate with one another. Then as per Companies Act 2013 section 2 subsection 24, a person who is a member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India. So if a person has a membership of Company Secretaries of India, that person will be regarded as secretary. So this is also a type of qualification. You just cannot enter your name into Company Secretaries of India just like that. You require certain skills and qualification for that. Features of secretary. The first is individual. Only an individual alone can be appointed as a secretary. A firm, institution or a corporate body cannot be appointed as a secretary. So here there should be individual person, no any group of people or no any institution. A single individual person can become a secretary. Then duties. Administrative duties such as correspondence, means communication, writing letters, then conducting meetings of the company, and maintaining records and providing information. This is a basic function of a secretary. Then they have to do various other functions also, like day-to-day routine duties related to towards the employer or organization, such as clerical work, recording, fixing appointments, giving reminders, replying to other employees queries, etc. So these are the duties of secretary. Then qualification. Now you require certain qualification to become a secretary. So a person who is appointed as a company secretary in a public or private limited company needs to have certain prescribed qualifications according to Companies Act 2013. So Companies Act 2013 will provide all the guidelines that who should be company secretary, and accordingly if the person fulfills all the qualification criteria, then he can become the company secretary. A secretary of a government department needs to have qualification as per the government rules and regulation. The next is appointment. A secretary can be appointed by individuals, professionals, society, corporation, government, public organization, joint stock companies, etc. So these are the various groups or people who can appoint secretary. Individual can keep secretary, even companies are having secretary, even governments are having secretary. Various ministry in government will be having some secretary, like finance secretary, home secretary, etc. Then paid employee. Secretary is either given a salary or paid an honorarium. So here if a employer can give a secretary salary, monthly income, or honorarium means payment given for professional service that are rendered nominally without charge, like a payment or fees that you can provide to a secretary. Then confidential officer. Now all the secrets of the organization are with the secretary. So a secretary is a custodian of secrets and confidential information of the organization, and secretary has to keep all the information with himself only. He cannot disclose the management's decisions or any other information to third party. Then next is representative. A secretary acts as a representative of the organization, means when it comes to communication, a secretary will communicate with other people or other institutions on behalf of the organization. So a secretary acts as a representative of the organization. Now there are two types of secretaries here. One is personal, second is institutional. Personal means when a second secretary is appointed by individuals are known as personal secretaries. This secretary represent their employers. So if, for example, if there is a person A, his person name is Mr. A. Mr. A can have a personal secretary with him, which could be like Mr. A, Mr. XYZ. That Mr. XYZ will look for all the works and all the workload about his employer. Employer is Mr. A. Then there are institutional secretaries. Those are appointed by various societies, companies, government departments, and represent their organizations. So they will not represent individual, they will not represent their bosses, but they will represent the entire company or organization. Then next is qualities. The qualities like concentration, intelligence, tact, loyalty, cooperation, courtesy, leadership, orderliness, and knowledge seeker assist in smooth and efficient working of the organization. So you require certain qualities also in a secretary. That qualities are given to you here in the last sentence. If a person is having almost all the qualities to become a successful secretary, then he or she can help the organization to go in an upward direction to get the success due to his skills and knowledge. So these were the features of secretary.